Well, welcome back, everyone. I wish today was a better day. It seems like we have a Groundhog Day every day with the miners here going in the red. It seems like not a great couple of weeks that we've had here in the miners. Obviously, you guys are feeling it. I'm feeling it here as well. Down huge, right, on the portfolio here. Everybody's down, it seems like. So we'll talk about what's going on here. Also, we have obviously the miners. We have more miners now providing their monthly production update as well. We'll talk about that a little bit. We got Bitdeer news. Bitdeer was down quite a bit again today because of that. It's just been one thing after another for them. It seems like this past week where they've been just falling down here. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll get into Q&A because there's not much else as far as going on with the miners. We do have some good things about AI, data centers, and things like that. We'll cover those things as well, and we'll get into Q&A. Okay. As always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice. For tip only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what's happening here with Bitcoin here, at least today and in the after hours or pre-hours of the new day. So if we look at it here, we can see here on the daily chart for Bitcoin here, it has obviously been, last 2 days haven't been great, right? Today was a little bit better. I mean, we were down only 1.33%. Yesterday, we were down 2.8% here. And then we're in the new day for Bitcoin here for Thursday now. It's up a little bit, 0.57% there. So maybe we are starting to bounce here. I mean, Bitcoin is seeing higher lows at least, it seems like. So this could be a good catalyst for us to possibly go up higher here. Time will tell, right? Nobody has a crystal ball. I keep saying that. We'll see where things go. I still don't believe that this cycle is completely over. I think we still might have an extended cycle here, but it is definitely testing that thesis right now. On the charts here, at least on the action that we're seeing on Bitcoin as well. So it's tough to be positive, and it's tough to be patient as well. It's definitely testing that patience very, very hardly or very hard right now. Okay, markets overall today. Dow Jones was up, Nasdaq was down, S&P was up a little bit at least. Russell was down. I think the government shutdown is supposed to be ending. I think President Trump is supposed to be signing that bill there to end the shutdown tonight. So that should be at least a good thing. Tomorrow might be a better day for us here. And then we had Ethereum also being down just a little bit today. So things are kind of maybe winding down a little bit on the pressure there on these things. Ethereum was only down 0.07% today. Okay, miners. Again, miners got beat up here today a little bit. Bitfarms is down 5.93%. This thing is, let's take a look at how far they've come down here from the top here. Bitfarms has come down here approximately 53%, right? Got to $6.60, now at $3.16, so it's 52. To the bottom there was 54%. And this is just in the last, 2-3 weeks or so, right? So these last 3 weeks have been brutal. We've obviously heard also a lot of talk about AI bubble and all this stuff, I think, which is punishing these stocks here because, well, maybe people didn't get into them early enough and they're not happy about it, so they're going to try to bring them down as much as they can so they can get into them as well at that point. I think the AI stuff is not done yet. So Bitdeer was down 7.19% here today. It's come down quite a bit there as well, 51%, also like 52%. So Bitfarms and Bitdeer are in that same category there. Kango was down 2.65% here. Kango has been coming down here ever since basically July, and that one is down. Let's see how far that one has come down here. If you look at the chart, it is down 42% overall. So that's still not as bad as Bitfarms and Bitdeer here recently, but obviously Bitfarms and Bitdeer have done better as far as price action is concerned here. Cypher was down 6.91%, and it is down right now from the top here approximately 33%, right? And this is just in the last couple of days, last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, it is down 33%. And that one, Cleanspark was down another 5.09% there. This thing has been taking a slide down over the last 2 to 3 weeks or so, and that one is down 45.9% overall. We can look at CORZ. CORZ was down 5.08% today, and we can see that one is now down 32%, so a little bit better than the other ones here. Hive was down 11.26% today. I'm not sure why that one is down. They've been doing very well as far as growth in exahash and working towards building out their own data centers as well. So that should be helping out. And it looks like we're stuck again on the screen here, looks like. All right, let's do this and then go back to here. Hopefully that fixes it. I restarted my computer today, hoping that that would fix the issue here, but it's obviously not that issue. It's something else with the software there. So hopefully the software I'm using gets an update here shortly here. But Hive was down to 11.26% here. We can see on the chart at least that we are down approximately almost 48% on Hive as well. Hut 8 was down 4.96% here. That one is down from the top here down to here was only 30%. So that one's doing pretty good also. IREN was down 2.93%. That one from the top here, which got last week to now, is down 30%, right? So 5 days, 30% drawdowns on these guys here. Mara was down 1.5% here today, and it's also had a pretty rough ride here after getting to 23.40. The bottom was at 40%. Riot was down 4.21%. Today, that one is, let's see, from the top here to the bottom was 35%. And then finally, we got Wolf here. Wolf was actually up today, 2.18%. So that one was the only green one in the miners here, or the HPC AI plays, BTC AI, whatever you want to call it. That one's down 30%. So a lot of these guys are down 30, 40, 50% down in the last 2 to 3 weeks. We've also seen a huge rise on them. We probably should have looked at how far they've come up here from some of these guys, from like their bottoms here in June. It looks like some of these guys bottomed out. Bitfarms, right, from the run in September. How high did that go? So if we look at from September up to the high here, it was up 425%. So a lot of these guys are still up huge. Yes, we're down 30, 40% drawdowns from the recent highs here, but overall, they're still doing very, very well if you just zoom out a little bit on the time frame as well. So anytime we have something like this where things go up huge, 100%, 200%, 300%, 400%, whatever it might be, in a pretty short period of time, within like a month or so, you're going to see a pullback eventually, right? That money's going to have to rotate into something else. People are not going to be in them that long. They've seen these huge gains. They're up 50%, 100%, whatever it might be. They're going to take some profits. They're going to put it into something else that they think. And then eventually that money will rotate back into these guys when they appear to be at good price levels again for them to get into it, right? So it's one of those things where you kind of got to go through this process, the cycle of trading and everything else, and then be patient and wait for these things to bounce back up here. But I still believe that's going to happen here. That's why I haven't sold anything. It sucks. Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm with you there. It's definitely been painful. But we've been through this before. I've been through this at least, multiple times here where we had huge drawdowns on these guys. They pump back up. They come back down here. But the narrative has changed on these BTC AI miners. It's more on the megawatts they have for HPC AI potential going forward here. That demand is not slowing down here. We got some stories on that as well. We'll cover that in a second here. Looking at some of the other things that we do have here, MicroStrategy obviously was down today, 2.91%. Galaxy was up 1.72. Block was down 0.21. Coin was flat, 0% gains, losses or anything like that. MetaPlanet was down 7.53. Exodus was down 6.48. Nexum was up 0.84. This one just continues to go up regardless of what the market's doing there. Semler was down 5.92. Phoenix was down 3.63. And GameStop was down 0.42. Small miners got beat up also, except for Argo. Argo bounced today for some reason, being up 7.3%. Bitcoin ETF miners here were all in the red today. BitQ down 2.6. BKCH was down 3.69. DAP was down 2.68. WGMI was down 4.64 there. And then Ethereum holding companies that were actually up today. Ethereum wasn't down as much, so that kind of maybe why. BNR was up 2.48. BitDigital was down 3.73. BTCS was down up 1.71. Game was up 2.74. SBET was up 0.09% there. And then some of the other companies that we track here, American Bitcoin was up 0.41%. Wi-Fi was down 11.89. That's BitDigital's company there as well. Open was up 10.5% today. This thing is also going up, bouncing here a little bit. Oracle was down 3.88%. Nibius was down 7.69%. Soluna was down 10.97. Backed was actually up 0.65. Fermi up 0.68. And Meta, Google, Amazon were all down except for Microsoft being up here today. So a lot of the data center companies are, coming down as well on it. But we got some stories. We'll talk about that here shortly here. In the after hours, pre-hours, whatever you want to call it here, Bitdeer is getting beat up even more here, 11%. They came out with news about convertible notes. We'll talk about that. That's obviously having a big impact on the stock there after hours right now. Bitfarms right now is down 1.57%. Cypher is, let's see here, is it going to be up a little bit, up 0.35. Cleanspark is up 1.13%. Core is down 0.24%. Then we got Hive Digital is down 0.24 as well. Hut 8 is actually up 1.73. IREN is up 0.83%. Mara is up, let's see where it is, 0.76. Riot is up 0.84. And TeraWolf is up 0.4%. With these guys being up in pre-hours or after hours, doesn't really matter that much because we have seen these guys, start out in the morning pretty good, but then they get beaten down here recently. So we'll see if that trend finally breaks on these guys here with the government shutdown ending, and then liquidity is going to start flowing back in as well. So there's that. We have Bitcoin being down now 6.81% here for the month of November right now. For the quarter, we are down 10.25% here in Q4, which historically has been a pretty good quarter for us. Bitcoin ETF inflows, we saw outflows today, 241 million without IBIT reporting, which is BlackRock there. Yesterday, BlackRock bought in. I mean, a lot of them were buying in yesterday here, with Bitcoin being actually down here, which was kind of nice to see. And then today we obviously have outflows happening as well. Some good news stories that we do have here, though. This is another deal here. So another AI and AI utilities bullish story, 50 billion in data center build-outs for Anthropic. Right, IREN, Cypher, Wolf, and others continue to get these tailwinds. That's going to be happening there. But Anthropic is to spend 50 billion on U.S. AI infrastructure, starting with Texas, New York data centers. So Anthropic is building out the 50 billion data centers there. The project developed with GPU cloud partner FluidStack, which is partnered with TeraWolf and Cypher currently for their megawatts there. Will create 800 permanent jobs and over 2,000 construction roles, with the first sites going live in 2026. And it marks a strategic push to compete with OpenAI's 1.4 trillion build-out and positions Anthropic as a major U.S. infrastructure player amid policy focus on domestic AI capacity, right? So there's going to be more spending happening here for AI going forward, and you guys can't see this because we're stuck again. But here's what we got on this. So hopefully you guys can see this now. There we go. That's changing. Okay, that is just so frustrating. I'll have to work on this over the weekend to see if I can get this fixed. But yeah, so this is great news here, obviously, for that portion of it. And let's see here. Next here, we have also this. So breaking, Morgan Stanley warns of U.S. power shortage for data centers by 2028. Morgan Stanley says surging AI demand could create a power shortfall of up to 20%, about 13 to 44 gigawatts for the U.S. data centers through 2028. So bullish for IREN, Cypher, Bitfarms, and others as well, right? And that, because those guys already have a lot of megawatts, gigawatts even, locked up and in the process or in the pipeline going forward as well. So that is great news there for it. That's why I keep saying this is not ending anytime soon here. This pause that we're having right now and the price action on these guys is because they've been up huge. Whenever things run like that, they get hot, you're going to have a pullback on these, and it's kind of what we're seeing right now on these. But going forward here, whether it's going to be later on this month or next month, or even into maybe sometime in 2026, right? Whatever it does happen, we will actually start running once we start seeing more and more of these kind of deals happening here with it. Okay, so there's that. So that's good news still. That still gives me some hope there. And then when we look at this here, Bitdeer announced a proposed private placement of 400 million of convertible senior notes. This is why the stock is obviously dumping right now here in the after hours. We don't have much details on it other than the 400 million principal amount. Convertible senior notes due 2031 in a private placement, right? Person reasonably qualified for institution buyers pursuant, We know this. Bitdeer also intends to grant initial purchases, notes of options to purchase for settlement within 13 days, kind of similar stuff, up to 60 million here in principal amounts, so more or less 460. We'll see how much this gets bid up. Going forward here, use of proceeds. The Bitdeer intends to use a portion of the proceeds from the notes offering together with net proceeds from registered direct offering described below, if consummated, to pay the cost of capped call transactions, right? Kind of standard what we've seen in the past as well. On that, to pay cash consideration for concurrent note repurchase transactions. Bitdeer intends to use the remaining net proceeds from the notes, offering for data center expansion, ASIC-based mining rig development and manufacture. So that's their own inside thing where they're developing the latest generation of ASIC miners there as well, and expansion of its HPC AI cloud business, as well as working capital and other general corporate purposes. That 400 million is not going to go very far, especially when you're talking about HPC AI, right? We know that those build outs and, well, GPUs are expensive. The build out for tier 3 is also expensive, 8 to 12 million per megawatt. That is going to go pretty fast on them if they do go that route. Okay, so we'll see how much this gets upsized in the coming days here, and then we'll finally get some maybe details as far as what is the percentage that they're going to be paying on that as well, if any. All right, so there's that. Let me see here. Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's all I got for you guys here today. So pretty light news day as it is, and then we still, like I basically mentioned in the thumbnail, we have quite a few companies here that are now stopping, it seems like, providing production updates here. And we'll go back here and then back here so you guys can actually get to see this. We have Cypher still not reporting, right, which we're already in 12 days in, almost 13 days in already into November. So I think they're going to probably stop reporting these. I haven't heard anything official, but it seems like that's going to be the case here unless they report in the next couple of days here. Then we got also CORZ. CORZ has stopped reporting for the most part, but they were actually providing us with updates, at least on X, right? Every day they would put out an update. Here's what we mined so far for the month, things like that, right? That seems to have stopped as of October 27th. So we don't have a full picture for them for the month of October there. And then obviously we know IREN is now providing those going forward here. And one that's kind of was a little bit more of a shock to me here recently is Mara. Mara still has not reported their update as well. And usually they would be like within the first couple of days here. So it looks like we got Cypher. We know, well, CORZ was kind of half and half already. IREN we knew as well, but Mara. So there's at least 3 that I didn't plan on not having reports come out or stopping the reports coming out each month. So at this point, we're going to be down to only Bitdeer, Kango, at least for the time being, Cleanspark as well, Hive, and Riot potentially. We'll see if these guys here continue to provide those or not. It's an unfortunate event. I wish that they would provide this stuff because, one, I do greatly enjoy the data that's coming out there and it helps track how they are doing. And it always provided great insight into the companies here. I'm a big believer of more data available to investors than less, right? I don't like the conversations I've been playing around in Washington about possibly having the companies do only biannual reports. I'm not a big fan of that. That's too long of a time frame for investors. If you want transparency, you want to protect investors, you should almost like mandate that they report every month. How have their sales been? Easy things that you can report relatively quickly at the push of a button of your ERP system. It's not like you have to have 50 people in the back crunching numbers now to come up with these figures. Everything is computerized. Everything is digital. You should be able to get that out within a couple minutes. It's not a big burden on them to do it because you should already have that data in the ERP system. It's just running a report, monthly report. Boom, you get the data, it's out there, right? So I'm a huge proponent of that. On that side of things here, I think the more data that investors have, the better it is, the faster they can spot initial problems potentially. But there's 2 sides of the story as always, right? There could be just a bad month for somebody, backlog. So I get that, but it still shouldn't take that much to report these things here. So this is kind of where we are right now in the state of the BTC AI miners going forward. I think as they move more towards AI, we're probably going to see some more kind of jump off this monthly reporting thing. And then we'll just kind of obviously have to track them as best we can to see how they're doing going forward. And it also will depend, I think, as far as Bitcoin, where does Bitcoin go into the future, right? Do we have the similar cycles like we've had in the past where we should be going into like a bear market right now, right? If we do that, that's not going to be great for the miners, obviously. We're going to be generating less and less revenue because of that. But if we go into an extended cycle with Bitcoin where Bitcoin just goes up 30% in a year, 40% in a year, 50, whatever it might be, and then comes back down 20%. And we just have this continuation of, slow gains into the next couple of years. That would actually be good for the miners, I think. That would be still generating the same amount of revenue, more or less, right? Depending on how they grow with their Bitcoin mining operations and things like that. But overall, it would still be much better for them in that regard here. So we're at an interesting crux here, I think, in the Bitcoin mining space here when it comes to these miners. With a lot of them going to AI, we might be seeing, like I said, more and more of these guys now reporting monthly updates, which would be unfortunate, as I've already stated here. Okay, so that's kind of where we are at right now with all of this stuff. Let's get into Q&A here on any of the stuff that you guys have. And we may need to open up that support group again here for the BTC miners like we did in earlier this year, right, when things were just going down from January. We're just going down constantly until we bottomed out in April during the tariffs there. All right, so that's it. Let's get into Q&A here. We got quite a few questions and comments to go through right now as it is. As always, if you guys could preface those with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. And let me work my way up, and we'll work our way down as always on this stuff here. I saw a couple of comments or questions coming in early on already here from Amar, I believe it's how you pronounce that. Question: I have been investing in these stocks since late 2020, like you said. I've been through it all. I think the bottom could be way lower than where we are now. What's your exit strategy when? Got exit strategy right now. I don't have an exit strategy, at least not right now. I'm in these possibly for a little bit longer term because of their HPC potential for a lot of these guys, especially like IREN, Cypher. I don't have any TeraWulf, right, but I would say also TeraWulf in that boat. And then you got ones that are trying to get into it, like Cleanspark and Bitfarms, Bitdeer as well. Bitdeer's been beaten down quite a bit here. But we've seen these guys come down quite a bit before as well, and then they bounce back up here. So that right now there is no plan to exit for the time being, unless we go down, like start being down, 60-70% on these guys here. But even at that point, it will depend on where are my gains. My gains are still great on a lot of these guys. I'm still up, 150, 200% on a lot of these guys. IRENs, I'm still up 400 some odd percent here. So if not more, I think there's 500% on that one. So I'm still up huge on these guys here. So I can let them run down a little bit more without having fear of losing gains, right? I still have that belief that we will go higher from where we are right now based on just the demand of data centers, megawatts, and all that. But I could be wrong on that. All right, Emir's got another question here. What is the recent bearish narrative regarding AI that drove the sector down recently? SoftBank, NVIDIA sale, Nibius increasing debt, and what else? People are just talking about a bubble, right? Which I think it's incorrect to talk about it being as a bubble. The bubble that we have in this is not a bubble, right? You got companies that are generating revenue. You got, obviously, OpenAI investing, like we just talked about, $1.4 trillion into data centers and things like that. The revenue will come, but the big holy grail here for these guys is getting to like super intelligence with AI. I've said this going back, a number of months back. Any of these guys that can get super intelligence where they actually start generating or creating their own materials, science materials, whether it's for a better way to do silicone, better way to do chips, better way to do medicine, cures in medicine, all those things are going to be a revenue high because you're going to be able to generate so much more revenue because of all the advancements there. So that's kind of where I'm thinking on this stuff here right now as it is. Mark says, man, I had to stop checking the charts today. So depressing. Yeah, it's on the way down. It is very depressing on the way up. It's a huge hopium, huge rush, as always. That's a hard thing to battle there. Dan, sorry, Raylan, how's that 25 to 30 price target for Cleanspark looking? LOL. You never know. We run up here in the next couple of weeks. We still could get there. So never say never on these things. And we never know what's going to happen there. Hey, Mark, what are your expectations for Bitfarms earnings tomorrow? Could we get an announcement of a deal, perhaps? What's your fair value? Do you think we reached the bottom? I think we're close to the bottom here. It looks like Bitcoin's kind of bottomed out here last week, potentially. And it's just kind of retesting that bottom there a little bit. It looks like it. I could be wrong, but it looks like it, at least right now on the charts on that. And then as far as Bitfarms announcement, I'm not sure we're going to get an announcement as far as a deal there, because why would you wait for earnings release to report it? You could release it earlier. If that's the case. I want to hear more positive news as far as their development of their AI or data centers, things like that. Where are they at that process? Where are they at the process of getting more megawatts as well? Right, those things that will be going forward here for them. I want to hear more on that. All right, let's see. Right now we have a poll running, right? Will Bitcoin go down or up? It looks like 62% of you guys think it will go up here. That's kind of where I'm at also. Victor says, hi, Seb. Another question here. Evening, Seb. It has been a bloodbath recently. Lower highs and lower lows. Bitdeer is 13% after hours after being down over double digits in the past days. Why? Again, if you zoom out from where they came as far as price appreciation in these stocks, they're up huge still, right? Yes, we've had 30, 40, 50% corrections here from the recent highs, but we're still up, 200, 300%, 500% on some of these guys still. So it's a little bit of a correction out here. Sadie, good evening. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for the thumbs there. Cass says, hi. Crazy Waffle King. I don't know if I should sell or not. Losing so much money in these. Yeah, I saw Mike Alfred. I don't know if you saw his post. I think he's done like 40 some odd million here in the last couple of weeks, which is what definitely trumps as far as how much lower I am. In regard to that, right now today I checked it. I was down from the peak, which was a couple of weeks ago, to where we are now. I'm down on paper, what was it? 650,000 roughly, somewhere around there. Yeah, 650,000. So, but I'm also up huge here. So it's still, it's not great being down, right? Nobody likes that. But overall, if you look at it from where you were and where you are now, hopefully you guys are still in the green on a lot of these things, on those. Okay, Victor C, please, can you check if the price for Cypher is undervalued at current levels? Cypher, as far as what I have for them, let's see, take a look at them. Yeah, current levels, it seems like it's undervalued to me right now. Current price today was 1738. I'm in between 2465 and 3697, right? The analysts have them a little bit higher price as well at 42. So yes, they are still undervalued in that regard. Bitfarms, we talked about them here in a second. They seem to be kind of fairly valued, at least right now, but I also am with a lower PE there of 12. I have them between 310 and 464. Analysts have them at $7, so they're actually getting them a higher premium there, maybe like a 15. Maybe they're going even higher than that, like a 20 PE. Okay, so they're giving me actually a higher multiple, so 516 to 774. So yeah, I would say still undervalued in that regard. All right. Let's see. All right. Amir says, I have a strong conviction, but the market doesn't. Retail investors follow the herd. I found that swing trading and selling covered call options is key for building a better position. Your take. There are definitely people that do that, and they have a lot more experience on it than I do. I don't have the time to do that. I work during the day, do the research after work, spend time with the family and everything else. I don't have the time to do that. I found it, at least for my sake, my sanity, that it's just easier for me to buy the shares in the companies that I think have huge potential going forward and dollar cost average into them. And that's, so far, knock on wood, has worked out pretty well for me. It's taken a long time. It's been 3 years, but it's worked out very, very well. Right? I don't think we're done yet with all this. I could be wrong, but like I said, I don't think we're done just yet. Guy says, hey, Seb, Cleanspark will go down to 1150. Scary. You think it'll go down that far? 50%, it'll be more than 50% retracement. It'll be like a 60% retracement on these things. So it'd be similar to what we saw back in from January of this year to April, right? Where a lot of these guys were going down 50, 60% down from their tops that we saw last year. Okay, SK, will Bitfarms go under $3? Will it go down after $3? Let's see where we at here. Let's see here. Bitfarms, where's that one at? 317. It's getting close there. And here's the thing. RSI is looking pretty good on it right now as it is, right? The RSI on the daily has come way down here. We got the earnings tomorrow. We'll see if we get a bounce on the earnings or any good news that they actually provide us with. I don't think they'll get an EPS positive unless they cut out a lot of costs, which I don't think they would have. but I could be wrong on that. But right now, just looking at the things, I don't think they're going to be EPS positive, other than the good news that they might have for the development of AI data centers going forward here. That might spike that. So we might be bottoming out there on Bitfarms here. That's on the daily. On the weekly, weekly is also much lower here than where it's been in the past here, right? I mean, we were at $1.30 at a pretty close RSI as well on it, and we're at right now 317. So again, this leads me to believe that we're having a little bit of pause, a little bit of break, healthy pullback on these guys here, and getting a little rest before we go up higher. But I don't know exactly when that's going to happen. Whether it's going to be happening tomorrow or the next couple of days, a week or a month, I don't know. But it does seem like they want to, take a break here, and we'll run eventually again. Okay, I talked about that. Let's see here. SK. Question: Directors of Cypher continue to sell. It's something bad going to happen to Cypher price. Directors, is it directors or is it Bitfury there? Directors also, like we've seen in the past as well, right? They have sell positions or shares that they want to sell. They usually do those like what is it called? It's like 1052B or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the SEC proper term is for that, but we have seen where they mark or set a target for the stock price to get to, and then they sell at that point, right? Then it's usually done a couple months, maybe even a year in advance of that happening, and then when it gets triggered, it goes, right? So that's never a bad thing, in my opinion. No Name Channel, what a painful last few days, last couple of weeks actually. Hope government reopening plus quantitative easing kicking off will give us the rally we need. I'm hoping that for that too as well. Big to see the CEO of Cypher bought 684,000 shares yesterday. Okay, was it bought or did he get them as stock-based compensation? I'm not sure if he bought or not, but if he bought, that's fabulous because that's a lot of money there. So I'm not sure if he bought that. Let's see here. Sarah says the Democrat Schumer shutdown ends tonight. Yep, that's gonna be good here. Hopefully. Rob, why was Wolf the only one that was green today? I'm not sure. I think maybe the news that came out with, who was that with? That was, oh gosh, where'd it go? There it is. It was with, not that one, this one that I'm going to take a look at here. It was Anthropic. It's drawing a blank on the name. Anthropic to spend $50 billion, they're right. And they're working with FluidStack, and FluidStack has deals with TeraWolf and with Cypher there as well. So maybe that's the reason for that little pump there that we saw. Okay, what else? We talked about that one. Okay, all right, Rob. I wonder if Ben of Bitfarms will buy back shares at a certain price point. He might buy back more, but he was buying back around $1, less than $1. Remember that when he was buying it? So, and he was right. The company was way undervalued at that point, and I agree with him at that point as well. Steven, I told you many about Cleanspark in the past. Sell it and buy Cypher. Now Cypher is doing much better than Cleanspark. Buy Wolf. They said more HPC deals by the end of the year. Yes, they did. Yeah. So that's completely up to you guys, right? I'm still holding on to Cleanspark because I think they do have potential there as well. They were late to the party with Bitcoin mining. They came out to be one of the top 3 players there, right? They were the first one to get to 50 exahash with their own infrastructure. And then obviously IREN followed them right behind, like a couple weeks behind them. But those two, IREN, Cypher, have done fantastically well with Bitcoin mining here in a short period of time. So I think that can translate potentially into them also doing pretty well in HPCI if they put their minds to it. But that's just my take on it. Could be wrong. SK, what is the future gigawatts pipeline for Cango? What price target you see in 2026? Cango's got no pipeline right now. Well, not everything. Like 98% of the megawatts that they do have is hosted, so it's not owned by them. They're asset light, and they own only like 15 megawatts, I think, right now as it is. So hard to tell where they're going to be going. Asset light is not a great thing because obviously you're paying more for the megawatts there that you are using, which is through a third party and it's hosted. Roz, question, miners are going down when Bitcoin is going. Do you, if Bitcoin reaches 120,000, miners will reach to the peaks just like in October? it will help, but I don't think this would be the reason for it. The miners have been running here recently because of HPCI potential more so than on Bitcoin price action. Bitcoin price action has been, more or less flat this year. It's up, what is it, 18%, 28% up, whatever. Or maybe down, it might be actually flat here. Let's take a look at if we can see this on the yearly on this one. On Bitcoin, do I even have the yearly? Got 3 months, 1 month, 6 months, 12 months. All right, so here's Bitcoin on the chart here for the last basically 12 months. We are up 9%, right, this past year. It is nowhere near what we have seen here in the past with Bitcoin. Right, in 2023, we were up 155%. 2024, we were up 120%. This year, 9%. Yeah, we'll be lucky if we get to 10, 50% up for the year here, at this rate that we're going, and then maybe next year we finally start having a nice little run here. We shall see on that one. So, I don't know. Okay, talked about that one. SK, what price target do you see for CORZ in 2026? For 2026, for them, depending on how much more megawatts they get going forward, I think that's going to help out. They got to obviously build out the sites for CoreWeave as well and start generating revenue on that, so we know what the revenue is going to be there for them. But I currently have them just with the revenue that we do have. Let's see, this CoreWeave here. Okay, so this includes some revenue as well. I mean, right now, I don't have them that high here. I'm going to bump them up here to 20p like some of the other guys here potentially. So I have them between $15 and $22 and $23, somewhere around there. Analysts have them a little bit higher as this point right now, $29. But yeah, it's hard to tell right now. We need to get more details on that, basically, to see what their megawatts potential is going to be going forward. And how are they going to fund it as well? All those things are kind of important there. All right, Raz, do you think quantitative tightening will stop, and do you think interest cuts will happen in December? It looks like it, at least right now. December cuts are, I wouldn't say they're shoo-in, at least right now. If we look at the FedWatch tool, as of right now, the FedWatch tool is pricing it in at 66.9% for that to happen for a quarter basis cut there. And then 33% are thinking maybe a 50 basis cut on it right now. Once we start seeing more data coming out from the U.S. government, because once the government shutdown ends, we'll get some more data on obviously jobs, CPI data, inflation, right, PCI data as well. We'll see how that's kind of coming out there. I don't know if we're going to get data that's going to be going back to September, October as well on those things. We'll see if we do get that or not. But that'll help out there at least. And then quantitative easing should happen because they're going to be stopping quantitative tightening. At least the Fed is going to be stopping that. So I believe that's going to be happening there also. All right. Okay. Crazy Waffle King. Question. If someone is on the fence regarding selling or hanging on, could you suggest a stop loss, please? My cost on Bitfarms is around $5.19 for Cleanspark. Okay. So you got in, obviously, in the run up here on these guys. Okay, so as far as the stop loss, that's going to depend on you. The question then becomes, do you have faith or do you believe that these guys can go up higher as the demand for HPC AI continues to grow here going into next year and possibly beyond that as well? Do you think they can still get more, and can they get deals there? So that's the big question there. If you do, then you may want a dollar cost average in. If you don't, then definitely put a stop loss, whatever you think is, what is your tolerance as far as tolerance for loss pain or pain loss. No, that's completely up to you there. Victor C. Question. Bit confused. Did the CEO of Cypher buy or sell? Let's take a look at it. See if we can pull this up. Hold on. Let's take a look. All right. SEC of Cypher. Okay. There's that. Ownership disclosure, so that should be under that. Number 12. Report proposed sale. Report. Let's see here. Take a look at this one. Cypher mining, Farrell, name of person whose account is reporting Farrell, so that's not a former officer. That's a former officer. We got this one here. This is Evans Halimaro. What was this? Director. Number of shares sold 35,000. So they sold. What was the explanation for it, if any? There is no explanation for this one. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see an explanation for that one. Sometimes we get an explanation as far as why they were sold. Was it a predetermined sale done in the past there? Okay, so that's that one. Let's see. Cypher, Williams Wellesley. No info on that one. Number of shares or other units to be sold, 80,000. Acquired between 11, 17, 21 and this year. So he was getting those, it looks like. And then this one here, director. Okay, I don't see anything about the CEO selling. Let's take a look at this one here. On this one, pilotage. Okay, so we do have this one here from Paige Tyler. What do we got here? We got code M. What is code M? Transaction code M. Let's say it in here. Let's see, remarks. Each performance stock PSU represents a contingent right to receive one share. I'm not sure what M is. I know D, dispose of. Amount of number of shares owned now. Number of derivative securities beneficial following report transaction 141. So that's the same there. Let's see here. Dispose of this common stock 11/10/2025. Amount 724 for 7. So it looks like you got common stock here on 11/9. That was an addition, right? Securities acquired. Price. So those were more or less stock-based compensation, more or less there. So that was 7.9 million there. Code D sold. G2, I'm not sure what that is. G2 doesn't state here. I wish they would have the actual what the codes actually mean here. Could definitely look it up in the SECs if we wanted to here, but this was basically, yeah, so it looks like he sold some, maybe to cover taxes, which we have seen in the past as well. Shows the reporting person's charitable gift of shares of the issuer's common stock. Vested in all 3 tranches. The second tranche of PSU is vested on November 9th. The PSU have now no expiration date. Okay. Remarks, reminder report on, yeah. Hard to tell on this one. If he sold it or if it was just to cover the tax implications on there as well. Because that would be roughly half. And depending on his tax bracket, that might be what is needed to cover those expenses there potentially. So, but still, 16. Yeah. If you guys know better than I do on this, let me know. I'm thinking this is for tax purposes. I'm thinking. I could be wrong on it, but I'm thinking it's for tax purposes. Usually they write that down if it's for tax purposes. Okay, let's go back here. But again, if you did sell, I'm not too worried about it. They've been holding on for the company for a long time. A little bit of payout there. The stock has also done phenomenally well here. A little payout is not a bad thing. All right. Let's see. Paul says Bitdeer utterly destroyed in the last couple of days. It definitely has come down quite a bit there. Okay, Rob says that power shortage PR by Morgan Stanley is great news for Bitfarms, not only for Bitfarms, but also for obviously IREN and for Cypher and others. Okay. Let's see here. If I can find Josh in here in the comments, I'm going to get him out of here. Let's see. Where is it at? Hold on. I'm trying to find Josh here. And we're going to boot him for posting spam. But you guys have a lot of comments here. Bear with me. All right. We're way up there. Okay. Never mind. I can't find it right now. I'm not going to worry about it. All right. Daryl's got a question here. Seb, will you continue to hold your mining stacks of BTC and the rest of the space continue to bleed over the next 2 to 3 months? How much do we bleed, though? Do we bleed another 10, 15, 20%? Then probably I would. I'm looking at it longer term. I'm thinking the next year to 2 years maybe on these guys, especially like IREN, Cypher, and the other ones might actually do pretty well also. So I have a little bit longer time horizon, right? As you guys know, I don't trade these things for the most part. Sometimes I do rebalance a little bit, where I see a company doing pretty well. I did that last year. I did that a little bit this year as well, right, where I sold a little bit of IREN. Cleanspark bought into Cypher at that point. That has worked out really well for me. Did the same thing last year with selling a little bit of Cleanspark, buying more IREN at that time. So I have done those things to kind of rebalance and move into positions that I want to get into. But for the most part, I just dollar cost average in, dollar cost average down, and hold on. Rob says, I know I'm holding on to my Bitfarms. Nice. Roz, when you think of Riot and Cleanspark will make HPC ideal? When? Oh, gosh. I wish I knew. Right, for you guys and for everybody else, I wish, I was a fly on the wall in those meetings and we could see what the heck's going on there and hear what's going on there, but we don't. I don't know on that. Cleanspark might be a little bit further out, I think, than maybe Riot. Riot's been trying to do this for pretty much over the past year now, going back to, I think, December of last year when they kind of said that they're going to be pausing Bitcoin expansion and going into HPCI as well. And so maybe they have a little bit more of a lead, potentially, but hard to tell. Hello, Seb, and the chat. Could you please explain what Cleanspark did today? Is it good or bad? You're talking about the convertible notes there. It's good, right, on that side of thing. So that just gives them more capital to buy more sites if they wanted to, more megawatts, pay off some of the debt they have with the Bitcoin-backed loans from Coinbase and others as well. So that kind of takes it off the table there. And then the 407 million that they're buying back shares from the convertible notes, which I think were probably from the prior convertible note, I think. I don't know that for 100% fact. All right. Daryl says, I sold about 75% of mine last month and bought back in at discounts last week. Go Cleanspark, Hive, and Bitfarms. Way to go. Nicely timed there. Rob, I got a hot feeling that Bitfarms is well sought after company because of Ben's pursuit of power generation. They do have nice sites in Pennsylvania, right? And a pretty good site as well in Washington. The pump, orders one, the pump and dump for miners are over. See you all for the next one, March 2026. Okay, that would be great. We have a nice rally here into February, the next couple of months, basically. Victor, why are the companies not reporting anymore? A lot of it, I think, has to do with, one, they've kind of paused their growth in Bitcoin mining, right? So going forward, the only thing that's going to help their numbers look good is Bitcoin going up in value, more so than the network hash rate is going to go up. So I think it's just not report that kind of, I wouldn't say it's bad news, it's just kind of what it is. But as Bitcoin's flat here, Bitcoin network hash rate continues to increase. They're generating less and less revenue each month if they're not growing their hash rate. So I think that's part of it. The other part of it is obviously they're trying to get more into HPCI. And we've seen, obviously TeraWolf, I think, started this whole trend here last year when they stopped reporting it. And then we had Core do the same thing, right? And these are companies that are getting quite nice deals with HPCI. So I think that's the reason for it. I wish it wasn't the case, but it is. All right, then, question, do you think the run is over for Cleanspark / miners? I don't, unless we go into a bear market, not only in Bitcoin, but the market in general itself, which I don't think that's going to be the case here, right? We do have a lot of pretty good things backing us up here. Rate cuts possible in December as well. We've had 2 recent rate cuts here now. Government shutdown is ending tonight. Those are all good things here. And then I think the economy is still doing pretty well here overall. So I don't think that we are completely done and over with yet. Let's see here. The Asian dietitian, is Bitdeer oversold, or do you think its current price is fair given the news in the past few days? Do you think it's worth 27 now? What it was last month? Okay. As far as Bitdeer is concerned here, the report that came out for the quarterly results wasn't great. Their delays on the A4 chips for the A6 that they're creating, the seal miners, is also not great news there, right? The other thing that we saw was the amount of sales for their ASIC miners actually came down from what we saw the prior quarter quite a bit. That wasn't great news. So there was just one bad thing after another that's held it back down here. They do have a lot of megawatts going forward. They're building obviously into 2026, 27, and even beyond that as well. So they do have a lot of potential here, I think. And I mean, analysts have them between $50 and $20. I have them between 25 and 37. I think that's kind of where they should be fairly valued, more or less. And then being $13.94 right now, that is pretty low. I think eventually they will bounce, but it's just been one bad thing after another. Now the convertible notes also are putting selling pressure on it as well. So it's just, like a triple whammy on them in the last 3 days here, unfortunately. And in time, I think they will bounce, but we'll see how they bounce. Okay. All right. Okay. BHHH says, LOL, people asking when Cleanspark and Riot will have an AI. Dude, this run is likely over. Wait for the pullbacks. If it pumps on more time, I was all in TeraWolf at $2. Take your money and leave. Okay. That's definitely one way to do it as well. Daryl, Seb, there's always 3 sides to the story. There's yours and the truth. LOL. Thanks. Who all in here is holding Bitfarms? Rob, I'm still holding it, obviously. Fola, hi, question Seb. Hi, Seb. Hive earnings expectations and how the stock could react. Thanks. Earning expectations for Hive right now are they've obviously increased their revenues here quite nicely. Will that be enough to cover the expenses and everything else and give them a positive EPS? That I don't know. It's gonna be close, right? On that side of things. As far as any other news that we could hear from them, right? They're targeting 35 exahash next year sometime, I believe, for growth. So that'll give them another 10 exahash from now until this time next year, possibly. So that's at least good that they're still continuing to grow in that regard. And they are also working towards HPCI data centers, that they're transitioning their data centers from tier 1 to tier 3. That's also good news. So we just need to hear what is the process there. We probably won't hear that until, I think it's Monday. Right, they're reporting on Friday, but they are having the conference call on Monday there. So I don't know if it's good or bad having it on Friday and not having the conference call until Monday. Is there something that's not great? I don't know. We'll find out at that point. Okay. Paul says, I can't believe I haven't opened a bottle of whiskey yet. This has been rough. It has been rough. Victor, how long do you think the AI bubble sentiment will last? Until we start seeing more and more deals, right? So deals going, companies reporting great revenues. Obviously, we've seen that already with Microsoft, Google, Amazon reporting great numbers on AI and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just the market's the market. Market's not going to want you to get too ahead of itself. And plus, we've seen obviously, well, a lot of people play charts. You also have in there the algorithms, right, for trading. Those guys also work off of obviously sentiment, work off of just fundamentals of the companies, work off of charts analysis as well, and everything was screaming that they were overbought for at least a little while. Things have been coming back down here, which is good. A break, a breather. We needed that. How much more lower do we go? I don't know, but these are definitely good buying opportunities here, in my opinion. Let's see. Okay, no interest says, can we get Zoloft as a channel sponsor? Free doses for all of those invested in these AI HPC. Okay, that's not going to happen here. Shinshi, hi Seb, will the stocks and BTC go up after tonight, considering now that Trump signed the bill during the shutdown, and what will it mean if prices don't change this week? This week, I mean, if it doesn't change this week, that doesn't mean anything really, I don't think. We got basically tomorrow, which is Thursday. We got Friday. Friday, we might have options expiring. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we got some options expiring as well. And then do we start out fresh the following week? Could happen, right? So I'm not too worried about it yet. But yeah, that is a good thing. Rate cuts happening in December would be a good thing also. So maybe we do get a little bit of a rally here. Overall, the market hasn't done that bad. It's just these guys here have been beaten down a lot more. Okay. All right. The Asian dietitian has a good question here. Daryl Gardner, how did you know how to sell last month? What signs did you use to know accurately it was the top? Could have been the RSI. RSI was screaming pretty hot there as well. This has been a total rug pull for investors. Not a total rug pull, but depending when you got into it. If you got into them recently here as they've been running up here, then yeah, you're not going to be happy here. But if you've been into these guys for the last couple of years and you've been dollar cost averaging into them or something, or just buying, opportunistically, then you're still probably doing pretty good here. Okay, let's see. BHHH, Michael Burry, the Don is shorting this bubble, and me too. Took my money and left. It was all in Wolf at $2. It's over, people. Maybe one more little pump left, okay? Bitfarms is a crap company that everyone thought was good just because it all of a sudden pumped. It's not that it all of a sudden pumped. I think it's got re-rated from their potential, is what I'm thinking there. Okay. Trying to catch up with all the comments here. We got a lot of comments here, so I'm trying to catch up here. We're going already almost an hour here long. All right. Let's see. Paul Brown says markets haven't moved tonight with Trump signing shutdown. Seb, what do you think it looks like tomorrow morning after the news? Geez, I don't know. I hope it goes in the green. Obviously, we started a little bit bounce here, going back up, but time will tell on that one. Daryl, Seb, I really appreciate your hard work and optimism in this space, but if we pump after the government opens and they pump, please take some profits. I appreciate that. And yeah, we'll possibly take some profits, right? I've been a pretty staunch supporter of these companies for a long time, and also pretty stubborn to sell. But again, I could be wrong on this. I could be wrong on my theory, my thoughts on this completely. I'm still up nicely, right? So I appreciate that. I'm definitely thankful for that. I don't take it lightly. But I still believe that there's going to be more upside to these guys here going forward. I don't think, and I will take some profits because I'm going to have to take some profits eventually anyways. But it'll be definitely a gradual process where I take profits. All right, Andre's got a question here. Seb, do you think the market will go up when the government opens this week? I think it should, right? But the only bad caveat to that is, what will the data finally look like when we do get data from the government on jobs, on CPI and PCI as well, right? Will that spook the market, or will it actually be good and actually pump the market as well? We don't know. That's the only concern that I have right now with the government opening up, is the data that's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks here, a couple of days potentially as well. Paul says Burry is a two-hit wonder with housing market. He's really overrated as far as his FUD. I agree with you there as well. Rob, so just so everyone knows, the market manipulators bought puts and is driving miners stocks down. If you sell, that means it will go down even harder and faster. No way I'm selling to help them make money. Okay, that's part of it also. Okay, Daryl says to the Asian there, it was luck and an old rule I have to take profits when I'm up 700%. That's a good rule. Okay. All right, Truth. Based on what you said before, I would guess you are down 55,000 a day. How do you mentally handle this? I've been down. Well, the more portfolio is valued at, right, the more you're going to see as far as drawdowns as well when it goes down. So I'm kind of gotten used to it a little bit, right? It's still nowhere near what some other people have in the markets here, where they're down, 40 some odd million. I mean, that's a lot of money, but they probably have a heck of a lot more money than I do, right? So it's all in comparison, and you just gotta, well, maybe I'm too optimistically positive on these things going forward here, but I just see all this potential with AI right now. The megawatts are gonna be needed. Maybe I'm wrong on it. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right on this. I could be wrong, and I might be actually hurting myself by not taking profits sooner, but time will tell. So far, things have worked out pretty well. Sarah says, I was down 6 figures today and felt nothing. I'm numb to it. You're kind of like me there. Okay. Okay, YKY says, Seb, the pullback on Mara is not healthy. Well, it's not the pullback on Mara alone. It's a pullback on everybody else here, right? I mean, the markets are still good. I mean, overall, if you look at the Dow Jones, NASDAQ, I mean, they're still not that down that much. It's anything that's like HPCI data related right now is getting beat up like crazy. But they've also had a huge run up here in the last couple months. Jeff, does anyone know where to buy? That's the one I want to. I can't actually drop you from here. Let's see, Pete, question. Would you consider sharing your approximate entry prices on few main positions, as it would help us differentiate between yours and our positions? Exit strategies, we are way apart, I think. I'm close to zero. Okay, yeah, so Bitfarms for me is $1.35, roughly. Cleanspark is $5 something, I think. $5 something, right around there, almost $6. IREN is around $8. Cypher is $6, $7, somewhere around there. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as my price averages are on the shares that I own there. All right. BHH, while the miners are down around 30%, the last 5 days have been sweet shorting. Yeah, if you're shorting, you're doing great right now, right? So there's two ways to win. When prices are going up and you're going long, and then obviously when they get too hot, you go short, you're making money on it that way. And that's the market in general. Market will eventually equal things out, and then, you know, they'll make money on the way up, they'll make money on the way down, they'll make money on the way back up. Then in 3 to 6 months, enough time frame for Cleanspark to go back to 20 per share. Yeah, I think so. On that one, Daryl, I'm sure we will pump until Christmas with all the good macro coming. Another opportunity to make some money, people. I think so as well. Harris here, do you see a relief rally for the miners tomorrow? I'm hoping that's the case with the government shutdown ending there. Did you sell anything? I have still not sold anything yet. BHH, Cleanspark always finds a way to F the retail shareholders always. It's not always. It's, you know, depending when you get into it. It could be anybody, right? You got into IREN at $70. You're probably pretty PO'd right now on that one. You got into Bitfarms at $5. You're probably pretty PO'd right now. So it depends on when you get into these things. So that's the tough part there. Let's see. thank you so much for the super chat there. Prepare for liftoff, surprise rally incoming November, December. That I would love to see that, right? Roger, New Christmas is historically a sell because people are locking in profits for the year. Yeah, and they're also rebalancing their portfolio. So we typically see that starting like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks at most, where you start seeing things changing and going soft at that point. I bought 30,000 worth of more Cleanspark Riot calls today. Nice. Mr. X, hi Seb. I'm really looking into buying more Bitfarms and Bitdeer. Is this a good opportunity, or where would you put your cash, or is it best to wait as things are still going down? So personally, not financial advice, I would probably just put in a little bit into these guys here and see where they go, right? If they go down a little bit more, put a little bit more into it. Dollar cost average into it, because I don't know where the bottom's going to be. And that's kind of the way I played it out here in the last couple of years. All right, let's see. BHH says, Bitdeer price, nice bear trap there, okay. Roger, government shutdown is over. Tariffs news between China and U.S. is good. Why market not rebounding? Again, you go up, you got to come back down a little bit. It's not going to be a consistent rise to the upside. You got to have a little, you got to have some fun every once in a while to bring the markets down a little bit, and then we go back up, especially if things are still good overall. Miner sell-off has only just started. I've seen this before. So you're thinking we're going even further there, Sour? Paul, now we have 2 bots in the chat and miners down. Rough times lately. Yeah, I'll see if I can find those guys and ban them later on. Okay. Did you expect it to be that simple, Roger? I guess with things going up. What else? Kevin, I think Tyler sold a bunch of shares and used the proceeds to exercise a bunch of share options. Okay, that could be part of it. Yeah, the reporting on that was not clear. Right, as much reporting as they have to do and everything else like that, it should be much clearer than what it is on this stuff. Right, they got a code G, a code D. Code D, I understand it's a distribution or a sell, but the other one's code G. What is that? If you put that code in there, mark it down below what that code actually represents, instead of having people go searching for it. All right, Paul, gold and silver pumping on the shutdown news, but otherwise markets not really moving, kind of worrying. Okay, yeah, we'll see how it plays out tomorrow. Harris, which level on IREN would confirm a trend reversal? For IREN, gosh, I don't know. I'm not a chart, right? Squiggler there. I mean, if we bounce off the 50 SMA on it, so here, let me pull this up. You guys can see that. Hopefully, you should be able to see that. Okay, so we're not too far from the 50 SMA, which would be around $51 roughly, more or less. right? Our size on the daily is much, much lower than we have been in the past here. If you look at it back here where the RSI was close to it, we were at, what is it, at $52, right? RSI right now is lower at that point, and we're still up higher in price. That's a good sign to me. That looks pretty good. On the weekly still looks a little elevated here, obviously on the RSI, but we have seen it where, you know, it has dipped a little bit, and then we've gone way up here. So we might see a little bit more pullback if we look at the weekly potentially. We have, you know, kind of bounced here at the 62 level on the RSI at least. So we'll see. I think daily looks pretty good though. The monthly here, let's see, the monthly looks a little hot, but it can also run a little hotter here as well. So I'm not too worried about that. Daily looks good though. All right, last time the RSI was this low was back in August of this year, and we were at $15. So that is a nice little pullback here in the last couple of weeks that we have seen here on the daily chart at least. All right. All right. EH says, everyone is worried. Sentiment is right in the gutter as it always is before liftoff. Yeah, you want to be buying when people are fearful. You want to be fearful when people are, right, what is it? Be fearful. That's an old Warren Buffett quote there. Be fearful when, basically buy into fear and sell into greed. That's what it is. Okay, guys, it looks like government shutdown just ended now. Great. All right. Rob says, Tom Lee said that he expects BTC to go up for reason one, financial institutions need to meet benchmarks. Two, pension funds. Three, other financial institutions that wish to have ownership in BTC for once. Yeah. I think we'll still go up. That's why I think it might be an extended cycle here. Victor, I saw the Cypher CEO buying on TradingView notification. Okay. EH, those who haven't been scared out are already weird out. Okay. What else we got here? Is Hive undervalued? Yes, I believe it is. Under latest updates, trading view Cypher. Okay, that's where that's pumping up here. What else we have? A few YouTubers that do technical analysis say the Hive will run to $10, $12 a share. Okay, that'd be great. Technical analysis goes cran analysis. Yeah, chart squigglers, as Mike like to call them. Where can I? That's Joshua again. I gotta stop doing that. All right, there's another one here. We got Herman and Joshua. If you guys can mark him or ban him somehow, if you could do that, that'd be great. Let's see what else we got here. Cleanspark, the most undervalued right now. It's definitely one of the most undervalued here, along with, I think, still Bitfarms and Hive as well. Been beaten down here quite a bit recently here. DeFi IREN coming close to your sell point. Will you sell around 45 if we drop? Probably not. Like I said, I think there's just good things happening here as well for the whole sector going forward. I'm not at that point yet where I'm going to sell. All this bullish news yet, we dropped manipulation, part of it also. Are you surprised Cleanspark dropped around 12 today? No, not really. I mean, things have been coming down here. Things got overheated. I think we're still going to be okay. Okay. Rob says, way to go, Seb. Nice to see you are holding Bitfarms. Yep, been holding it for a long time there. Okay, Harris says, I believe Burry is wrong. Give it a few weeks and everyone will forget the bubble narrative and market will run again. I agree with you there. I'm of the same opinion there as well. Dole, I can't pronounce that, so I'm sorry. Hi from Luxembourg. Hi. Question, are you still DCing in? I am not doing the renovations, the build out of the basement here. That's sucking up all my cash right now as it is, so otherwise I would be. NG, what happened to Bitfarms? I'm holding 45,000 shares with $2 average, so you're still doing good. I've been averaging at 430 and 350 range, but it's still going down. I would like to see this on a longer term point of view, 26 year end of year, just like IREN. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit longer term hold possibly. Kasi friends, did you? Geez, there's another one. Okay. How many shares on the miners do you have? I got. What is it? 7,000 IREN, 10,000 of Cleanspark, or is it 11,000 now? Can't remember. I have to look it up. Let me look it up. I don't want to give you guys wrong information right now. Bear with me while I pull this up. Where's it at? There. Okay, come on, load. It's not loading. Come on. Okay, why is it not loading? I don't care about activity. It's just... Bear with me. Let's see. There. Can't retrieve the file information. Check your network connection. My network is fine. Google's having issues, probably. Well, let me see if I can pull this up. Okay, just so you guys don't see my account number and things like that. We'll pull it up here on this one here. You guys are looking at that one. Okay. I just want to make sure you guys don't see my account ID. All right, let's see here. What do I have here? Account. Oh, gosh. All right, what do we got? Number of shares, where is it at? Number of shares, cumulative. Deposits. Hold on. Components, IREN. I don't want to know P&L. I want to know how many shares I have of each of these companies here. Where the heck does that go? Okay, banking. Don't care about that. Should be in here someplace. Why can't I move this over? Make it bigger, different total. That's P&L, but still, it should tell me how many shares I have. Where is that listed? Paper trading, no, don't want that. Options, don't want that. Futures, don't want that. Custom, it should be in the account. Performance, how many shares do I have? Distribution, P&Ls, calendar, don't care about that. Positions, there it is. Okay. All right, Cypher. We got 3,900 shares. IREN, we got 7,068. Cleanspark, we got 10,100. And Bitfarms, we got 9,450. All right, there it is. That's the latest info on those positions there. All right, took me a little while longer than I thought it was going to take me to pull it up. Okay, talked about that. All right, Desmarket stats. Question, are we in a bubble and will it pop? We are not in a bubble. Heinze, my God, MSTR to Cleanspark, just so frustrating. It is, unfortunately, friends, did you manage to, oh gosh, another one there. Sean, Bitdeer recap. CEO skips earnings call while reporting massive delay in seal. Yep. Miss on said earnings badly. Yep. Multiple of their buildings burned down. That's the part I didn't hear. Then a day later, 400 million offering. Yeah, that's why the stock is pretty much a mess there as it is. Yeah, what a mess. Okay. Okay. Greedy when people are fearful. There you go. Yep. And be fearful when people are greedy. Yep. By the dip. Yep. Talk. Okay. Covered that. Time to listen to the rolling starts. Start me up. Something to get you going. Absolutely. What else we got here? What's the expectation for Bitfarms in the morning? I don't think they're going to be positive EPS. I'd love to be surprised on that. But I'm more waiting to hear what they actually say. Their progress going forward for AI data center build-outs, AI in general, roadmap. Where are they on the roadmap? Also for their megawatts potential. Those are the things I want to hear. All right. Let's see. 4 9s. Fine silver there. Hey, Sebastian, what do you think about XRP going on the stock exchange tomorrow? I mean, is it the XRP corporation there that has it? I have no thoughts about it. I was never a big fan of XRP, going all the way back to 2017 on that one. Sean says, congrats on the 7 IREN shares, Seb. That's a life-changing hit. You deserve it. Held through all the nonsense for years. If anyone deserves it, that gains is you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it wasn't easy, right? Dollar cost average into it. Well, I would have gotten into IREN a lot earlier, back in 2022. That's when I actually was thinking about buying into it. But at that point, if you guys recall, if you were in this space long enough, you probably recall that they had the loans, which were through a special purpose vehicle for their, I think it was like 3.5 at that point, which was a lot, 3.5, exahash of miners. But during that year, 2022 into, obviously like October, Bitcoin price was going down and they couldn't actually service that debt. So they had to give back all of those machines there. And that was the point right there where I was like, okay, I'm going to hold off to see how they do going forward. But probably should have bought in back then because they've done actually fantastically well here. So it took me a couple more years, right? It took me about 2 more years to see how they do going forward. How do they grow out of that? And then once we heard, obviously, last year when they started saying, they're going to be expanding their hash rate to 30 exahash, 40 exahash, 50 exahash, the megawatts, the data centers, all that stuff that they're going to be doing. That's when it's like, okay, they're growing again, which I love seeing that. They've had pretty good operations as far as operational uptime as well. Like, that's a no-brainer for me at that point. That's when I sold a portion of my CleanSpark and got into IREN as well, and then dollar cost averaged out to dollar cost average into them throughout the year there. So I could have been into earlier too. Let's see, Kaz says same here, still holding 200,000 Bitfarms retirement or nothing. Okay, that's awesome. Average price of $2, so you're doing good there as well. But things seem to line up perfectly for the Santa rally, which may be the last rally before a bear market. Oh, I hope that's not the case there. Rob, Hive and Bitfarms are so cheap right now. Thinking about getting 2,000 more shares of each one. Nice. Angie, is it feasible to ride this out with Bitfarms and be on similar levels as IREN in the long run? Gain-wise, as far as percentage gains there, the thing you got to remember there is Bitfarms has more shares outstanding, so the stock price is not going to probably go up as high to get the same valuation as IREN there. So that's one of the things to keep an eye on for that one. But I think it can do very well, especially if they can still build out their data center sites in Pennsylvania, maybe get a great deal with somebody there because those are nice sites and great location as well. But yeah, we'll see. Opinion on CAN here. On CAN, I don't track CAN. I've kind of kept an eye on them to see how they're doing. All right, they have small mining operations. They have more hosting operations, and they also build their own ASICs as well. And now I believe they're trying to get into HPC AI as well. But as far as how are they doing financially and things like that, I don't know on them. But yeah, they haven't performed anywhere near close to what Bitcoin has done since the bottom in 2022 when Bitcoin bottomed out, right? It hasn't done nowhere near to that at least. All right. Des Market says, sorry, I got here late. My portfolio was actually up today because of open. Nice. I've been diversifying and rotating this quarter. Very nice. Nicely done there. All right. We're going to call it a day. We're going on an hour, 15 minutes roughly as it is. So with the government shutdown being over here, does that mean good things for us going into tomorrow? Potentially. Let's see. Where are the miners right now in after hours? Bitdeer still down almost 12% there. Cypher is red now. So things are turning red here in the after hours, looks like, on some of these guys here. If we look at it, there's that one. The Cleanspark being actually, is it going to be red? Up a little bit, 0.3. CORZ Scientific is down 0.24. Hive is down almost 1% now. Hut 8 is at 1% positive. Limit IREN. IREN is up just a half a percentage point. Mara here is, come on, load. It is up 0.83%. Riot is up still 0.75% roughly, and TeraWolf is actually now down 0.25%, more or less. So we'll see how tomorrow is with the government reopening and everything else. We'll talk about it, obviously cover it at that point, and discuss it also. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much for coming in. As always, greatly appreciate you guys here and the gals as well. Love you all. I hope you guys have a great Thursday. Hopefully it's going to be a good one. We definitely need it because we've been on a pretty bad ride here recently. So a nice little pump here would be nice to see at least. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Until then, bye.